I'd like to see a bit of rain. I think that would liven things up nicely.
Exactly. We need a bit of
I don't think the
up.
drivers would like it. Wet tarmac is nobody's favourite, to be honest.
Well, I think that's what
Breen wouldn't mind.
That's what Breen's after, really, now, isn't it? He's doing a couple of rain dances in that car.
Yeah, he certainly was yesterday. But as I say, I mean, I suppose the one advantage you might have is if it rains, is he'll be hoping that, say, Kopecky and Bouffier might get embroiled in the battle, and one of them might chuck it off. But on board with Leandri, let's enjoy this for a few moments.
Droite 100 plus court vite. Dans droite 110 à fond court. 50 mètres, droite 140 à fond. 20 mètres gauchy. 50 mètres, droite 100 moins mi-tard. 100 moins mi-tard. 40 mètres.
Jean-Marc Manzagol on the stage now. Alongside him, Etienne Patron. They're doing very well as well. They're up to 7th place now in the rally, having done a very good job on day one. This is where attrition really plays into the hands of the local boys. You can get yourself a really strong result in front of your home fans, and this is where careers can be built, you know, on a great performance on your local rally when you've proven yourself against the likes of Kopecky, Kubica, Sarrazin, Breen. And when you're on that global stage, not only is it a good bit of airtime, but this is actually great exposure to prove what they can do in the heat of the moment on a tough rally like Corsica.
Again, you can hear Manzagol coming down a cog here and there where the other drivers maybe wouldn't. Certainly the youngsters who are in the far end of the top 10 will be hoping that, you know, they can improve their pace over the years and make a career out of it. I'm sure we'll have a couple of wealthy guys in here as well who are just having a fantastic time on a very, very high-profile event and in great cars, and I don't begrudge them that at all. If I win the lottery, you won't hear me on Eurosport ever again. You'll see me halfway down the field in an S2000 car having a brilliant time.
18 different nationalities being represented on this year's rally. Daniel Oliveira jetting all the way from Brazil, and Molly Taylor on the other side jetting all the way from Australia.
And back there as well next week, rally in Australia for her and Seb Marshall.
For those of you who are interested, she is in the top 20 now. She has moved her way into 20th position. So things are looking good for her. But for Manzagol, a strong top 10 is on the cards. And don't forget, we've still got the action to come from Bouffier and Kopecky, and that fight back from Craig Breen cannot be missed. Join us in a minute. We're back at Corsica. Keep an eye on this boy, Julien Morin. An amazing performance yesterday, considering that he's not a regular in the European Rally Championship. Julien Morin with Nicolas Klinger alongside in the Ford Fiesta, and they have hit well above their weight on the first day. 6th position for them, and very comparable as well. They are just 23 seconds adrift of Francois Delacour after the first day's action. And speak of the devil, there is the man himself.
Yeah, Morin had a good run, particularly on the last stage yesterday. He's got a very, very experienced co-driver. Clanger is a previous champion alongside Guyos. But let's go on board with my favourite, Delacour. Problems fixed, by the way. If you were with us again yesterday, Delacour, one stage end, fantastic. Wasn't one of the ones that was live, in fact. He had a problem with the brakes and a problem with the exhaust, and everything had gone wrong, basically. And they said, oh, you know, how's it going? He said, yeah, we've got a problem with the brakes, problem with the exhaust, but everything else is fine. So as if it wasn't really too much of a biggie. So all fixed today. First stage, Delacour said it's good. I was fast. Soft tyres, I was pushing.
19 years a competitor in the World Rally Championship. None of his flair or speed has been lost during that time. Returning last year, runner-up in the championship in 1993. 97 starts, 4 wins overall, including the 1994 Monte Carlo Rally. 214 stage wins as well. And he was the Race of Champions winner in 1995, back in the days when it really was a Race of Champions.
He won here, don't forget, 20 years ago this year, Delacour won. Unfortunately, unless he has 4 people retire in front of him, he won't be getting the old 20th anniversary champagne. But either way, 3rd quickest on the stage this morning, plus 11.8. He was just a couple of seconds off Sarrazin, and he was quicker than Kopecky. So, life in the old dog yet.
105 ferme 105, 50 mètres droite 100, droite 100,
And onto the stage comes Stéphane Sarrazin, a modern-day Sterling Moss by comparison to the drivers you get nowadays. He has done it all. Formula One, World Rally Championship, Formula 3000, the World Series by Renault, Le Mans 24 Hours, V8 supercars. I think if you gave him the keys to anything, he'd be up for it.
And he's quickest at the first split, most importantly. He's, after 3.37 kilometres, he's 2 seconds up. But there's that understeer again. He said that he was huge understeer. Yesterday, I mentioned several times already that he was learning the car. He made some changes, small changes for a big push. I think it was Graham Quinn tweeted yesterday saying one of the technicians with First Motorsport were running the car. This is the car that Sordo won in last year, so we know it's got the pedigree to do it, but Sarrazin definitely suffering. You could see in that hairpin he could not get the cars turned in. Let's have a little watch and see if we can pick up if he's got any issues with the handling on the higher speed stuff. Definitely understeering low speed corners.
Yeah, there's a bit of understeer under braking there. He's not going to be handling that as well as he would have liked. There's plenty of pace in the car. He just doesn't look particularly
unable to commit to the throttle to me as well.
Yeah, it just doesn't look comfortable.
He was 2 seconds up, as I say, at the first split, but it is only 3.3 clicks into the stage. So turbocharged regional rally car, basically. Although it's badged an S2000, the Mini Cooper, was it John Cooper Works, I think, incredibly long name the car had. I always think it looks quite an unlikely rally car. It looks big, the Mini, but it's been fantastic. It was a great shame that BMW Mini didn't get behind it in the World Rally Championship and really push it. And of course that was to the detriment of Chris Meek, who is driving the Zero car this weekend. And great to hear that Chris has been back on testing duties with people like Citroën and Peugeot. Of course he was with before the move to BMW Mini, but still fantastic to see the car out there, and it proves that ProDrive did a great job with all the design work they put into the car, and then teams like First running the car now as well.
There's good talk in the press as well of Chris Meek getting a permanent ride, not only in ERC but in WRC as well. So you certainly haven't heard the last of Chris Meek, and he's enjoying himself here.
Said this morning, what did Breen?
Breen, we've just watched Breen come through. He's a second down on Sarrazin after the first 3.3. So that is interesting. Sarrazin not quite getting the balance perhaps that he would have liked, but he's quicker than Breen at this stage. That is a surprise early on.
Yeah, Meek had said prior to the previous stage, remember he's only in a 208 R2, so he's not out in a full-spec S2000 car. He'd said that it wasn't wet, it was damp, and that there was a lot of grip, and then a lot of the drivers came through and said there wasn't a lot of grip. So it's interesting, you know, it can be very much whether or not a driver feels they've got the car underneath them, and there can be a bit of psychology in it as well. Chris won't be playing the psychological game, not in the Zero car, but quite often you'll hear a driver say, yeah, I had loads of grip, when they've actually had an absolute shocker, just because they know that will put the other guys off their stride. Fantastic shots of the onboard here with Sarrazin. You saw him slot left there where the road split. Important to have those very, very accurate pace notes through here. Look at the amount of don't cuts there are, left and right. Let's get on board for a minute. And just as I say that, of course, we go to the helicopter. Here's your man Craig Breen and Paul Nagel. Fantastic performance yesterday. Look at the rear end of the car, and you can see the damage they did on the first stage today. Breen's tyre choice, as I say, is 4 hard and 2 soft, which was the opposite of what Kopecky had gone for, in the hopes that it might work out better. And if the temperatures are very, very high, they could do very well on this stage in particular. Julian saying that the temperature was a little bit hotter here. I've just had a message, in fact, from Ryan Champion, who you may know as a very good works driver, Mitsubishi, Peugeot, various different things over the year, and he said, does he think Breen's hard might take a while to warm up? Yes, I tend to agree with Ryan. Glad you're with us as always, mate.
And Brian Bouffier has gone through in the 337, and he is the fastest, 2 seconds ahead of Sarrazin. That's no surprise, but it's certainly interesting to see just how the pace is differing in the first 337. It's always going to be very close. It's the second part, this part of the stage, where things open up and things are a bit faster, a bit wider. Boniface has come through the stage, so we'll see what his time is as he comes through. 18:51.7. So that's the good benchmark for him.
Still with Breen on the left-hand side. Listen to Nagel's notes there. It sucks you in, meaning that the corner sucks you in. Sometimes loads of different notes. It's hard to know exactly what a driver's notes mean, but things like mirage or deceptive can mean that the corner doesn't look like it is, sucks you in, could possibly mean that the camber on the road is to your advantage, or it might mean that it sucks you into a false sense of security. We'll ask Craig when we get a chance. Here we are, Boniface at the finish.
C'était une spéciale, c'était vraiment du sport. On s'est vraiment régalé, mais le dernier quart de la spéciale, c'était on était en délicatesse avec nos pneus arrière, parce que ce sont des pneus soft. Et du coup, la voiture avait tendance un peu à balader du train arrière, mais je pense qu'on n'a pas de regret à avoir sur notre choix de pneus.
The rear end of the car was moving.
Je pense qu'on essaie de trouver une polyvalence sur notre rallye, de ne pas trop en faire pour partir à la faute. Le but, c'est de marquer des points pour nos sports technologie. Et en tout cas,
we try to do things different on the rally to have more points.
On espère pouvoir marquer de bons points. Maintenant, Andreas était un pilote qui est très rapide. Et
we're hoping to score with this rally.
On aurait bien voulu avoir 2 roues motrices de plus.
We're having a good time.
Certainly in a great battle there with Aigner. Very close between the two of them. Let's have a listen to Paul Nagel.
Fully committed in there. Wet braking, just an amend to the notes there. Might not be relevant later on today, but Breen wanting a warning in the notes. He can put that in, and then next year again, if it's damp and he's back again, he'll know that it's somewhere that doesn't dry out very quickly. So even if he doesn't use it, it can be there in brackets, and then you know that if it's wet, it's going to be a problem. It's like doing a recce in standing water and knowing that there are puddles there. But back on board again, listening. There's that note again on the left. Aigner is at the finish now. Didn't catch his time, I'm afraid. Enjoying Breen's on board too much.
Andreas quicker than Jermaine Bonifay again in this stage, so it's going really well.
Yeah, so far so good. We are quite happy with the day so far. There was no problems. I try to push a little bit on this stage, but as well, it's a lot of downhill parts are in here. So, but the tires and also the brakes are better than I expect before. So it was possible to push more at the beginning, but at the end of the stage, you're always a little bit more.
On board now with Brian Bouffier. Battling for the rally.
And we don't have Bouffier's tyre choice, but we do know that he was 15.9 seconds quicker this morning. Now, interestingly, Kopecky has got 4 soft and 2 hard.
Now, Bouffier, sorry to cut in, Bouffier just went through 2 seconds faster than anybody, including Kopecky. So that is worth noting at the 3:37 stage. So they've gone through, very similar between the two of them. 2 seconds is the difference, with Bouffier now having the upper hand.
It was 2 seconds after 3.3 kilometres as well. That's very, very impressive. So there's a difference between the two, whether it's confidence, whether it's tyres. But I mean, looking Kopecky, as I say, 4 soft, 2 hard in some ways. If Bouffier was that quick this morning in slightly